We are light speed racing towards the holiday season, which means that I have a lot more product to test than I ever have, I think ever in the entirety of my channel. If you are new here, I have a drawer that I deem like my testing drawer, and I leave products in there until I've made a decision on them, whether I'm going to keep the product or pass it on to a friend. What I like to do in this series, which we call The Reckoning, which was coined by Hannah Louise Poston, who does something similar. The cup runneth over. It's time to reveal my feelings about some of the products that have been in my testing drawer for a while, and I feel like I have developed enough of a relationship to make a decision about them. This is going to be a really easy one and not a real shock to any of you. This is the Baked Blush Face and Cheek palette, and it is a blush palette with 6 shades in it. The blushes in here are really lovely. They work really well. I didn't have any issues using any of them. I mainly stayed playing with this brown one over here, but I dipped into a couple of the other shades a few times, but this was already not my thing. It came in a losing battle. It can be a really great value for people who are looking for the most bang for their buck. However, my brain doesn't really work like that. My brain loves a single compact, and when I open that compact, I know what's in that product. Even if I have a couple of things from the same brand, I like them to be in their own compact because then I think of it as that one thing. So when I think of this palette, I don't think of anything actually. And it's not because I don't think the quality is good. I don't think of anything because it's not one thing, it's 6 things. And I kind of feel the same way about eyeshadows more recently too. I have a problem in my mind thinking about things as a palette. I want that shade and I want that shade and I want that shade. And so if I can't really just do that with my blush, then I'm not going to be reaching for it. Basically, I only really used this the first week I had it, and then I really didn't mess with it beyond that because I'm not interested in a blush palette. And that's not to mean that they shouldn't have a blush palette or that if you like blush palettes, you're wrong. For me, it's just not desirable. That really deterred me from using this, is that all these blushes feel kind of warm in application. Even the ones that look a little cooler in there pulled really warm on me. I'm finding as time progresses that that is the case. Like, things just pull very warm on me. And I'm wondering if it's because my skin tone is cooler leaning. If I put something on my skin that's like a little bit down the middle as far as undertones go, it will always opt for warm. So that's why I really love things that have like that gray undertone. I know I'm starting to sound like just like Hannah Louise Poston, but I promise you that I don't have an olive undertone. It's just I'm finding what works for me and what I like, and these tones just weren't my favorite. So like none of these blushes were my favorite. And also I'm not opposed to warm toned things, by the way. It's just like I prefer wearing cooler tones. If this was a blush palette of maybe like cooler toned blushes, maybe I would have been more inclined to use it, but it's not for me. Not a bad product, but not for me. Next up, we have the Molten Chromes palette, which is a palette that has 6 of the shimmer shades from Bellabeuatebar. This palette's good. It's great. If you really love a shimmer palette, then I think that you would really like this. The thing is, I really liked some of the shades in here. I didn't love all of the shades for my free use. You would think that something like this would be more up my alley because it's a shimmer palette and I can use it to play with my mattes. You know, that's kind of how I've been building looks recently. But because it's a palette, my brain doesn't really think about it at all. Again, it also kind of suffers from having more warm toned shades in there. Again, that's a preference thing. That doesn't mean that any of these are bad. I really liked every look I made with them, but I think that someone else would love this a lot more than me. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to pass it on and have them love it. But I really am glad that I got to try this. I also think it's a really good release. Their palettes can be kind of pricey, and I don't think that this one's even that inexpensive, but what I'm saying is like it's a way to try multiple shades all at once from the brand without having to like buy individual shades or buy even one of the bigger palettes too, because they're just kind of pricey. Good release, good idea. Just not my favorite kind of colors, but I didn't have any issues with any of the shades in here. I thought they were all very, very gorgeous. And the holochrome in here was the first holochrome I ever put on my eyes, and I was like, I kind of like that. I'm not a big holochrome fan. If you're looking for a holochrome, I think Bellabeuatebar is the brand out there making the best ones if you're interested in that. Or if you've never liked them before and you really want to like them, maybe Bellabeuatebar is one to look at. But I do think the ones that are in the palettes are better than the ones that are sold as singles. Next up, we have the Melted Mattes palette. I really wanted to love this because in theory, it's like a lot of the things in my makeup collection that I really like. I have the Viseart Grand Pro 1X, which I use a lot to build my own palettes, and this is like a similar idea, except it has some neons in it, more of a bright color situation than the Viseart one. It kind of also reminds me of the Hindash, Monochromance, and Beautopsy palettes. Again, it's not the same format, but the same idea. Like, it will live in my brain as the same kind of thing. And I love having matte palettes to apply along with my shimmers. Like, honestly, they really made a system here that should make a lot of sense sense to me. And it did. They go together. They work really well together. But like, that's like how I build eyeshadow looks these days. I'm not really playing in one eyeshadow palette or thinking about things. It's like go in here, go in there. And like, I think palettes really just mess up my mind whenever I'm thinking about things, unless I love the palette in its totality, and then I might think to use it. The neons in here, a lot of people really liked the neons in here. The mattes from Bellabeuatebar typically are so blendable and dreamy, and I really love them. So we have the nudes down here, and those blend really well. They're the exact same quality. And I would also say that some of the brights, not really the neons, work really beautifully as well. Neons are a different beast, and that's kind of what I learned whenever I was talking about this on my channel, is that like neons require a certain amount of babying that I'm just not interested in doing, which is why like I'm not gonna keep this around. I have a couple neon matte eyeshadows. I'm just gonna use those as opposed to like depotting this one and keeping the neons that I want. I think that someone in my life will take this and really, really enjoy it, and I would rather have them enjoy it rather than it sitting in my collection and me not choosing it over my hindash palettes or my Viseart palette. That's where it would live in my brain. If you're comparing this to the palettes I just mentioned, this is about the same size or maybe even larger than the Viseart Grand Pro 1X, and there are significantly less shades in here. And when I'm thinking about something utilitarian, I really need to maximize the amount of space it takes up. It's like less shades. The neons in here I'm not really fond of. I just think I'm not really that fond of neon eyeshadows. It's not that I don't like the effect of a neon eyeshadow, it's just I'm not gonna work to do that. And that's not to say that if you love neons and you're willing to put in the work, great. We all do our makeup differently. I like my makeup to feel really easy breezy. If they somehow manage to make a formula of neons, which are hard to make because there's so much white pigment in them, like that's what makes them feel chalky and feel different. If they made a formula somehow that felt exactly like their regular formula, then I would be all in and I'd be like, these are the best neons I've ever used, which I can't say I've used a lot of neons. I'm just saying like, that would be really great, and that would have been really perfect for me. So that wraps up the Bellabeuatebar portion of the video. Let's move on to a Rituel de Fille product. Some of these things I have spent more time with than other things. If you know it all came into my collection at the same time and you're wondering why I'm not choosing to make my decision on it now, it just means I've spent less time with that product on my face. This is something I've spent a lot of time with on my face, and it is the shade Olivine from Rituel de Fille. It's from the Viridescent collection that they did with Andromeda. This eyeshadow is very beautiful, very special. The Ash and Ember eye sits from, is it Ember and Ash? I get it wrong every time. The Ash and Ember eye sits from Rituel de Fille are a very specific type of formula. Not everyone's gonna be really super into this formula. It does crease. It's not something that I feel like is even designed to last all day. It's more of like a rock and roll kind of thing. If that's not your gig, then this eyeshadow probably won't be for you. But what Andromeda did in this collection with this shade in particular, so special. I find with these like mossy olive green colors that it's so specific, but I feel like what Andromeda did is made something very wearable, and a lot of people could use and love this shade. I just love the sparkle reflect in it. Kind of almost like a neutral, and especially if you have like olive undertones in your skin, I feel like this would look so easy breezy on your skin. But it doesn't look tried on my face either. And I've seen people with really deep complexions use it and it looks gorgeous on them. It's one of those things where it kind of, not that it even promises this, but it's like, you know, gonna work on all skin tones. And I think it does. Eyeshadow is a little bit different than like obviously complexion products. I think even different than blush, because if you want a specific color on your eye, you'll figure out a way to make it work on your skin tone. But I don't even think you have to worry about that with this. It's so gorgeous. This particular shade of this made me fall in love with this formula and really appreciate it. I tried it a couple times before with a couple of different shades, and I was like, I'm not sure I quite understand it. And then this shade made me really understand it. I think that's because it has a little bit of a deeper pigment to it than the one I had, which was Flora, which is kind of more sheer. This made me like the formula even more, and it also made me appreciate Flora more. So it did a lot of things for me. So I will be keeping this one. It's also just like one of my favorite eyeshadow colors. It's so good. Andromeda just so good with this collab. They did release a highlighter and a lip product. I just haven't spent as much time with those two products, and I haven't really made my decision. The next thing I'm going to tell you about, it's an early call, but I haven't been able to put it down. And I will say that there's not been a product this year, besides the Lisa Eldridge skin tint, that I have reached for over and over again from this drawer, and it's from Hindash. It's the Hindash highlighter. I have 3 other highlighters that I bought around the same time as this, and I haven't really made my mind on those ones. This is the shade liluna, and it's like just the perfect highlight for me. It's not super icy or super cool tone whenever you get it on your skin. It's just, for my skin tone, it is like the most perfect highlight, and it goes with everything. I took it on my trip to Palm Springs and I like brought another highlighter and I just kept wearing this one. Every time I've done a look off camera, if I wasn't using something new or trying to show you something else, this has been the highlight I've been reaching for. And I just haven't felt that way about highlighter has really in the last couple of years been like, I do it and it's not that I don't like it. It's just like, I haven't been in love with that step. It's like, I've found some good products that work for me. Of course, or Glow Less, like, you know, I have some favorites that have really made me like highlighter, but like this is different. This is so good. I have the shade Dollhouse as well. I'm not as committed to that shade yet because it's a little bit deeper and it's a lot warmer. I just don't know how much I'm going to use that type of thing. But I also think that looks really beautiful on my skin. I don't know. It's just like one of the better highlighter formulas I've ever tried. On my highlight today, I actually went back into Pink Bronze from Gucci, and I have still been really loving the Gucci highlighters as well. I'm just like less compelled to keep them because I got them around the same time I got the hindash ones, and the hindash ones have just like swept me off my feet. Incredible, impeccable, gorgeous, amazing, stunning. There's never been a better highlighter. That doesn't mean you need to buy this highlighter, by the way. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that like it has made me feel a lot of things about a highlighter. It's got me back into highlighter. Just like it's so good, the ethereal glow that it gives, a glow from within. And it's like kind of wild because it doesn't look like it's gonna do that whenever you swatch it, but whenever you actually like apply it the way you would apply a highlighter on your cheek, it's just so good. I'll be moving that into my permanent drawer. The Gucci ones are like not far behind. I just haven't played with Pink Bronze as much as I played with the purple one. TBD on those. I don't know if I'm gonna keep both of them, but I might. I might do a little bit of a highlighter switch up. What I really could do in this video is also like put some things in and pull some things out because I think that's inevitably what's gonna happen. But I'm just gonna wait till the end of the year when I do my makeup collection tour. And I've talked about this before, based on the way that things are shaking out right now, if my momentum continues and PR continues to come in such a way and I'm able to like buy things for review in such a way, I think I need a set of drawers, and I will just keep my PR all year, and then we will do one mega video of this at the end of the year, or maybe we'll do a mid-year checkpoint and move things around. But I just think that might be better. And it will also give me more time. Maybe I like try it again a couple months later and I feel differently about it, because every now and then there are products where it's like didn't make sense for a while and then like later on it makes sense. And so this will give it a little bit of time. So I think I'm gonna get another set of drawers. Also, if I get another set of drawers, which means we can bedazzle them together, we can do a little arts and crafts video, because a lot of you have asked how I did that with my IKEA drawers. It's actually not that hard. So I think we could do that together. I've never filmed an arts and crafts video, but we'll figure it out. We'll do it together. Something that I just like really wasn't expecting to work out for me the way that it did, and I wasn't expecting to love as much, is the Moondust eyeshadows. I have the shades Lithium, Solstice, and Space Cowboy, and they are so pretty. They are just so pretty. I wish I could be the voice of dissent with these eyeshadows and be like, they don't live up to the hype. But if you're into that kind of thing and you've been looking for that kind of thing and you like a single eyeshadow in its own compact, if that's your thing, then these are great. They're so good. They're just really good for that. The wet look shine of them is so great. And I think that Space Cowboy and Lithium are much more sparkly than Solstice. The sophistication of Solstice, like Solstice stole my heart. It was the last one I wanted to try because I was like, that one's like boring. I have so many more indie eyeshadows that are like more special than that. I do think that that's true, but that doesn't take away from the beauty of Solstice and what it is. And I really lived in that beauty for most of the summer. The last month of summer, like Solstice was the look. It was the thing I was putting on my eyes. And I think I've worn Solstice more than I've worn Lithium and Space Cowboy, but in my head, I think I like Space Cowboy and Lithium more, but then I wear Solstice the most, which is really wild. Sometimes you think things and the reality is different, but I'm going to keep all three of them because I love them. If you're interested in these will occasionally go on sale, and they're not so special that you need to go buy them at full price. So wait for Ulta to throw them half off or something like that. I would share sales and stuff for when things come back into stock, but I never want you to feel like you need to go rush out and buy things. I'm not really out here trying to like remind you of sales or whatever, but there are a lot of other creators who do that kind of thing, and there's like Instagram pages dedicated to that kind of thing. I saw them on Instagram. I think the Beauty Steal had posted about them, and I was like, bet, went and got them. It's not unplausible that these will go on sale sometimes. So they're gorgeous. A lot of you probably already have these already, or have already swatched these already, so you've already made up your mind on them. A fail. This is actually like kind of a review. I can't pass these on because they are mascaras. This is the Covergirl Eye Enhancer. I have two shades. I have the shade Dark Chocolate and the shade Berry Brown. It never did what I wanted to. It's wet, it's gloopy, it gets all over my face, and it never dried out to the point where it like started performing better. I tend to like a drier formula when it comes to mascara, and I didn't even feel like it made my lashes look that good. And whenever I could get them to look good, they did look good, but it just was so much work beyond just swiping the mascara on my eye. And then that's where I stopped trying. Like, that's it. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to go above and beyond for a mascara. I like the color of the berry one. It was cool and I really enjoyed playing with it, but it's just not a very good formula. I think if I would have had a formula with that berry color that was a lot better, I think I would have really enjoyed it, but I don't think that CoverGirl hit the mark on this one, unfortunately. So next I have some things from Merit. Well, I guess I could throw this in here too. I didn't really think about it, but I feel like I've been raving about it enough. These products were sent to me in order to do the ad. There's some things that made the cut and some things that didn't. The Merit Clean Lash, which is what I have on my lashes today, although I'm wearing glasses, so you're probably seeing mostly just like light reflection at this point. But, you know, I didn't feel like putting contacts in, but I did do really pretty blue makeup, which you can't really see because of the lights. Anyway, the Merit Clean Lash Mascara. This mascara has really done it for me. It's fabulous. Flaking, no smudging. I like the way my lashes look every time I wear it. It wasn't getting all over my face. I had this thing where I was trying some mascaras where every time I would put them on, they would just like get all over my eyelids. Like they were just so messy. It's a mascara that's so great. I think I am, you know, committed to it. Like I think I'm committed to the Clean Lash right now. That doesn't mean that will be the only mascara you see on my channel, but this will be the one if I ever run out of mascara or if I have the opportunity to buy mascara for myself, this would probably be the one I buy. I don't think it is better than the Releve mascara from Surratt. It's just more accessible. I still love the Releve mascara and I will probably buy that sometime again in the future. The other thing is I try my darndest not to have many mascaras open at a time, because what kind of happens is like feast or famine when it comes to mascaras being sent in PR. It's like I either have 10 in wait or there's none in wait and I have 10 open. And I try to be diligent about knowing when I open the mascara, at least having an idea that I really try to only commit to 3 months. I find with my eyes, anything over that 3-month mark, really my eyes start having an adverse reaction to it. Even if it says 6 months, I just like to keep it at 3. So then I don't want to have a bunch of mascaras open. Anyway, you understand. The Clean Lash Mascara, I mean, it's like once you use a mascara, it's kind of your mascara, but I'm happy to keep it, really enjoy it, like that one a lot. Another thing I'm keeping wasn't click shut. So this is the Merit Solo Shadow in the shade Studio. They call it their cool toned offering. It's not cool toned. It's never worn on my eyes cool tone. It reads more right down the middle. If anything, again, leaning a little bit warm. I find that some brands, especially brands that are like clean brands that self-identify as clean brands, anything that they think is a cool tone is like a warm tone. It's like cool. Although they have the shade Nelson in this, that's actually gray. It is a gray, but it's like almost a warm gray. Anyway, this shadow, I wore Solstice over top of this like all of August. It really comes down to the shade you pick, because I did not have the worst time with Nelson, but I didn't have the best time with Nelson. I just feel like it didn't look very blended on my eyes. And maybe this one also is patchy. I haven't had that experience, but I think it's so close to my skin tone, just like a little bit darker, that like those imperfections don't matter as much. It's just so easy to like throw it on your eye and just kind of go. Doesn't really crease on me. It does a little bit if I wear it on its own, but I'm very rarely wearing it on its own. I'm normally throwing something on top of it, and it normally is just a great combo. I've been very simple with my eyes recently. I just kind of like would put something like this down and then I will throw something sparkly on top. Although, let's get into the eye look. I have been enjoying some colorful eyeshadow in my way. So I have been doing looks too. Maybe I just like doing looks in the winter. Let's feel less on the run. It's like, well, I gotta go. I have the time to sit down and do some blending. Very much like this. I could see myself using it a lot in the future. Anytime I just want to do something very simple. It's just nice to have on hand. Something that did not work out for me from Merit, which was sad, is the bronzing balm. It's the shade Quince. And the thing with this is really the undertone of it is pretty bad. What was interesting was sometimes when I put it on, it would look gorgeous, and then other times it was just so yellow. Like it just looked I looked sickly, unwell. And it's not that I think it's a bad formula, it's truly a color thing, but I feel like I avoided using it because the color was just so off. And of course, I chose this color to try from them, but I went in store and swatched the next couple of shades up, and I don't think any of those were very good undertones for me either. Bronzer, I feel like everyone is very specific about the undertone of bronzer that they like, and I can be flexible, but I have been really enjoying like the rosier bronzers that have been more in fad, especially for fairer skin tones recently. I've been much more into those than I have been into red undertoned ones or yellow undertoned ones. You have to get the right balance of things for me to really like them. So I just don't think that they nailed the colors. I think that that's actually something that the brand could reconsider. And also I would reconsider the packaging of this. It's just not that your packaging needs to be heavy, by the way. It's kind of just inconsistent along the lines of the brand. This is also pretty light, but it's plastic and it also feels durable. I don't love the clicking mechanism because I do find it very hard to open them, especially if you have just, done your skincare right before doing your makeup. It can be very hard to open. But this is like sturdy feeling. This is just so flimsy feeling. I know they can do packaging better because they have the signature lips, and I've tried those, and the packaging is gorgeous for those. This is just not gorgeous packaging. I'm going to find that a new home. Next up, we'll talk about the signature lips. I got 2 of them from them. One is the matte shade in Antibes. Gorgeous peach shade. I like this matte formula. I don't tend to wear a lot of like peachy looks, but I feel like this one I can work with a lot better than something that pulls super, super, super orange or super, super warm. Like it is like on the warmer side of things, but it's like just the perfect kiss of peach. It's like I really like this matte formula. It's really comfortable. It's still a matte formula, so if you have like an aversion to that whatsoever, you're gonna like feel it on your lips a little bit. But I will say that they did a pretty good job making a comfortable one. I think the Givenchy Sheer Matte is still my favorite matte formula whenever it comes to wearing a matte lipstick. It's very rare that I also am choosing to wear a matte lipstick, but I really like this color. I think it's a special kind of peachy color, and it's almost like a little bit grungy. It's a very good color. And then I also have the shade Baby in the signature lip. This has a little bit of gray in it, and it looks like my lips, but just better, but also just like cooler. Like it just like, I don't know, it just really does something to pump up the look of my lips. I took it on the trip with me and I wore it many times, and I basically, anytime I've been meeting people IRL, this has been the lip that I've chosen. That or one of the many lip balms that have come into my life. It's like one of those 2 things, but I really like this color. I will say this, just full disclosure, my Merit 1990 broke in half. The bullet, it just broke. That's not gonna stop me from using it because I think that color is very special. At one point I had the shade Slip and it got crunchy and fussy, and I liked that shade, but I didn't like it enough to deal with that. But 1990, I do like enough to deal with that. But I just wanted to let you know. But it's not preventing me from holding on to those 2. And I'm wondering if the matte formula has given anyone problems. Let me know in the comments down below if you have had experience with the matte ones doing the weird stuff that sometimes the signature lip does. And finally from Merit, the Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. This is a fabulous little soft matte primer. I feel like it does a really great job blurring my skin. It has this almost like soft powdery effect I'm not always looking for in foundation. I tend to like something glowy, or that's like what I want the end result to be. I feel like this allows my skin to start matte and then allows me to put glowy things on it and give me the benefits of having a matte base without actually having a matte base. I think that this allows me to do that. I think it's a really great first step. I think people who have oily or combination skin or normal skin would like this a lot more than I think that they would like the serum one if you were going to use that as a primer. I think that's going to be much better for dry skin. I think this is a really good option for people who are interested in something like this. I really think that Merit did something very special with this. It's an interesting formula to touch. So if you're ever in a Sephora, give it a go. Rub it on the back of your hand. See what it does to your pores. I wish that this was in as nice packaging as the serum is, because I think the serum, if I recall correctly, is in glass. This is just in plastic. But some of you might like that because it's a little bit lighter and you can travel with it. I took it to Palm Springs. That was a tough climate. And you might be like wondering, desert, when you want more moisture. Well, I think it does add moisture, but also gives you that soft matte finish, which is perfect. So I'm going to keep, I don't have any primers like this. My primers are glowy. I think this will be nice to have in my arsenal. And I actually, while we're here and talking about primers, I feel comfortable bringing this one in. Tiff finished their Bobbi Brown vitamin rich face base, and that was the thing that I was trying to finish by the end of the year. And Tiff doesn't buy a lot of makeup, and I like, it has maybe a third of the bottle left or tub left of it. And I was like, do you just want to finish mine too? And so they took it off my hands. So not that I'm down a primer, because I still have many primers, but I feel comfortable adding this one in because it's like I'm back where I started. Like I'm at a more, like it was a neutral bringing this in and removal of the other things. That's it for now when it comes to things I'm comfortable giving you my final thoughts on from the testing drawer. Thank you so much for watching. If you happen to be new to my channel, what I like to do on my channel is to help myself and help you be more discerning about the makeup that we are choosing to buy. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. I'm at this weird middle point of my channel where it's like I'm getting a lot of PR, and it's like it's not my full-time job, so I test it when I can, and so I'm just trying to get through it and move things around to make things make more sense for me. But I feel like a better system is in the works. Anyway, so please subscribe if you want to see more conscious consumerism content from me. I am on Patreon and I have channel memberships if you want to check those out. Link down below. I do an additional piece of content over there every month. There's no pressure to join. I'm just happy that you are here watching and commenting. But thank you to all my current members and patrons. I really appreciate you. In the pinned comment, I have a link to help families in Gaza through Operation Olive Branch. And I also have links to help people who were hit by Hurricane Helene in Asheville. Please check those out if you can. I really hope I hope everyone who might be affected by the hurricane that is on its way to hitting land, I hope you are all safe. I hope that I hope, because it's very I said so much. It's very scary times. It's very hard for me to come on here and be frivolous and talk about makeup a lot of the time, because I know that this is frivolous. I understand that, but we're also here to have fun. We can't live in that space all of the time, so I hope that this could be a reprieve for you. Anyway, if something happens and we need to help those people out, I will try to find resources for us to be able to help those people. But fingers crossed that something happens and that this storm isn't as bad. This hurricane gets downgraded and it's not scary, but it's feeling very scary. I've seen a lot of my friends in Florida. They're scared. Anyway, that's that. Remember to follow your hope and you'll find me, and I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth to doubt.